Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to Sixers Post Game Live. Today we are breaking down, reacting the Sixers 111-91 victory over the Houston Rockets. Top takeaways, player of the game, grading this team's effort. Sixers win their 7th straight, 8 of the last 9 games. Joel Embiid is playing possibly the best basketball of his career. The Sixers are blowing out teams. Suck it, Keith Pompey. Joining us, I've got my man, Justin. He is at J_person Kenny. What's up, Justin?
Yo, man, it's good to be back. Good to be back on a good game. I'll tell you that. Nice to see the Sixers really have a complete. It felt like a complete win. There was some lulls that happened throughout the game, as per Doc Rivers' teams. But ultimately, Joel Embiid had a really nice game, and I'm excited to talk about it. Let's go.
Let's go. Also joining us, he is Tiago. Follow him on Twitter at @tscabia. What's good, Tiago?
It's good, Chris. I have a question for you guys. If you were to put the Houston Rockets, Orlando Magic, and Detroit Pistons in like a death cage, which one would come out alive?
Dude, I was watching this game, and I swear our third guys in the rotation are better than anything on the team.
It's so bad. It doesn't take away the shine of the win, but it's really, really bad.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, Jalen Green's fun. Jalen Green's fun. He's gonna be a good player someday, man. He's gonna be like.
Well, he's gonna win a dunk championship for sure. Because that guy can jump.
100%.
100%. Win a dunk championship.
Yeah, let's jump right into our post-game show. How do you not start off with Joel freaking Embiid, man? Just absolutely sensational. 9 consecutive games on the road here now with 30-plus points. 9 of the last 10 games with 30-plus points. You look at this guy versus the Houston Rockets in 2 games this season, 55 minutes, 62 points, 23 rebounds, 16 points, a plus 32. I don't know about you guys, man, but I go back to when Embiid was like playfully talking shit to Tyrese Maxey. Got Tyrese Maxey back on track. You look at kind of how he was kind of playing around with, Matisse Thybulle. Matisse Thybulle had a great game today. Again, not hesitating from 3. Joel Embiid seems like that competitive older brother that's gonna fuck with you, but like ultimately wants you to be the best you can ever be. Joel Embiid was sensational tonight. Sensational. And most importantly, the biggest takeaway from this game was point guard Embiid. There were some plays tonight that absolutely blew my mind. I'm going to put these up here and share them because they're just incredible. They're just a 7-footer should never be able to do the things he does.
I think Ben sums it up well here by saying Embiid, the destroyer of hope. I think that sums it up.
Yeah, here's Joel Embiid, gets the rebound, brings it up, behind the back crossover, pull up jumper. It looks for the foul, doesn't get the N1, but it's just terrific. Here's another one from Joel Embiid tonight. Dribbles the ball up the court, and this play takes kind of some time to develop here, but takes his guy off the dribble. Joel Embiid, his improvement as a passer. There was another possession where he got the double team down low and found Matisse Thybulle cutting to the basket. No hesitation, quick reaction, quick decisions. Like I said, some of the best basketball I've seen this guy play, period. And that's kind of where we're going to lead off. Is Joel Embiid playing the best basketball of his career? I'm going to throw it to Justin. What's your take on Joel Embiid tonight? And is Joel Embiid playing the best basketball yet?
Short answer, yes. I believe so. I think yes, short answer. Long answer, yes, I think so, because not only is his scoring, he's getting his buckets in elite kind of ways. The best players in this league can get buckets anywhere on the court, and that is especially in the mid-range when it comes to half-court offense and especially playoff offenses. So I think that's obviously adamant that he's able to do that. But on top of that, you already touched on it, the passing, the playmaking has definitely risen throughout his career, but in the past 2 years, it's shown even more how well he's been able to handle double teams and handling the ball in traffic. I think that's 2 huge things. And the third that I think is kind of underrated, and you touched on it as well, is the team chemistry and the leadership that he's trying to put in this season. You see him on the bench so much more frequently, laughing, talking to guys, trying to be that upbeat personality on the court. And you definitely did not see that in past years. So I definitely like what I'm seeing from him.
We have the legend Harrison Grimm in the house of LibertyBallers.com. Check out Above the Grim, a new newsletter. He's put out amazing content, especially about John Collins lately. Must read stuff. I'm just, before we throw it to Tiago, I'm going to pour one out for my man Daniel Tice tonight. I got some peanut butter whiskey for my man. He got cooked. Man. His ass got cooked tonight. You're up, Tiago.
Yeah, man. Second time in a row, because the first game was equally as bad on his end. Christian Wood wasn't any better. These guys have no chance against Embiid. They're too light. They're too small. They can't anchor on anybody, much less Joel Embiid. To answer your question, I do think this is the best basketball of Embiid's career, 3-4 week stretch of his career. And the reason why I say that is because he's elevating players around him to new levels. And it's particularly like Matisse Thybulle, right? So Matisse Thybulle sitting in a dunker spot, cutting. Joel Embiid is finding him every single time. And I was looking at some numbers before the game. Matisse Thybulle was shooting over 80% on passes from Joel Embiid. 80%, which is just like insane, right? So it's a ton of dunks, a ton of layups. And tonight, he actually hit his first 3 off a Joel Embiid pass. So he was coming in, it was 0 for 5 off a Joel Embiid pass. Now he's 1 for 6. But, he's one of those guys who, if we just zoom out, because the Rockets are a terrible team and a terrible franchise, the Sixers are starting to experiment with a different starting lineup, which I think it's what they're going to land in going down the stretch, which will be pulling Tyrese Maxey off the starting lineup and putting Matisse Thybulle in a starting lineup. And I think if Matisse can hit those open threes and cash in on those cuts, it could really serve the Sixers well, because defensively, they're starting to find their rhythm in a big way. So it's just something to keep an eye on, because I think they're tinkering with this lineup. And the key guy here is going to be Matisse Thybulle. Can he make this work? If he can offensively, I think the Sixers have something really good going into the second half of the year.
Something real quick on Matisse Thybulle. Have you guys noticed that he's been a little bit better about staying in front of guys on defense? Like, if you notice, there hasn't been as many times that I'm noticing of him. I guess I can't think of the word, being too aggressive, trying to get the ball, that he's not able to stay in front of guys. I've noticed as the season's gone on, he's gotten a little bit better at that, which I think could be a big reason he stays in that starting lineup, because last year, the only time you saw him really play well was next to Ben Simmons. It felt like at times they kind of had to go hand in hand with each other for him to be as effective as he could be. This year, it seems that he's been able to be effective and be like the dominant perimeter defender that they really need with Ben off the court.
Yeah. The other thing I want to kind of like touch on here tonight, and I'm sorry, it is kind of a negative, but it is Tobias Harris. We got to talk about Tobias Harris in this game. And a win's a win. However, Tobias Harris, I kind of liked where he was going the previous 2 games, I think. But this game was brutal. I mean, you're talking about a guy here. What do you have tonight? He had 13 points on 17 shots. He had 2 turnovers. He easily had a handful of missed layups. I don't understand how this guy can miss shots at the rim again and again and again. You look at kind of like, I mean, he's in clear playoff form from everything we saw last year. I don't think there's a worse finisher than making $37 million in the NBA. I just don't understand his touch within 5 feet. It is mind-boggling at times. Like, going into this season, man, I was like, we're going to be okay. We're going to get off Ben Simmons at a piece. We'll be fine. I think it's almost more important to get off Tobias Harris's contract than it is to move Ben Simmons this year. And that's how horrible he has been. Yeah, John.
I can tell you right now, though, there's no possible way the Sixers are moving Tobias Harris for anything of value. Like, the only way you're moving Tobias is if you're throwing in a good young piece. So say maybe a team likes what they see in Isaiah Joe. Maybe a team likes what they see in, Jaden Springer, I don't know. Like that's the thing is he's got such a big contract that unless you have a team that is like the only team that makes sense to me is if you're thinking like the Rockets with trading John Wall and maybe taking a year, like that takes what 2 years off the contract technically, because John has 1 more year on his contract and Tobias has 3. So that is the only thing that kind of makes sense to me.
There is a trade. Sorry, Chris. There is a trade with Houston that doesn't involve John Wall. And the question is, so you can actually package Eric Gordon, like Deshaun Tate and Christian Wood, trade Tobias Harris, and you throw in like a Paul Reed and a Jaden Springer. So you incentivize Houston to get off to get off Eric Gordon. Seems like Christian Wood seems to be falling out of favor there. And you give them 2 young pieces to go along with Tobias Harris. I don't think Houston would trade for Tobias Harris. I don't think they have any interest in Tobias Harris. But money-wise, you can get something in return that's not John Wall, because I think John Wall is going to give you the same problems you have in your starting lineup. So I would definitely use that. I would definitely go for that.
See, but as much as I like Christian Wood, I just don't know if he's the type of player you need next to Embiid. And this is, I think, why this certain trade that's come out in recent days has like been so prevalent. The John Collins trade, because he's kind of like that perfect fit next to Embiid in some ways. When it, like at least with what's up?
I don't agree with that at all. He's
no, you
like
don't think
Tobias Harris. He doesn't shoot threes. He lives around the rim. It's the same problem. Like,
to me, it's quick. To me,
look at this shot chart. What 1 for 5 from 3, just completely terrible inside the paint. It's like it's the same thing, man. It's like just getting tiring to complain about the same thing every single game.
Chris, so like he's gonna make a couple of those ones at the paint. His 3-point shot is completely fallen off the map. That's very concerning. But what you're seeing there, he's not selling the mid-range, right? So he's shooting mostly in the paint and the 3-point line. So those red dots in the paint, I think they're going to even out okay, because he's just not that bad of a paint finisher. He's just going through a slump. The 3-point shot, I mean, it's been bad for over a month now. And that is concerning because he's shooting less than 30%. The offense doesn't work with him shooting like 27, 28%, man. He's got to get that up. But
do you think any of that has to do with there not being a legitimate like point guard type of pick and roll offense when he's out in the court? Like that, like there's no like in rhythm shots he's getting a lot. It doesn't seem like he gets a lot of in rhythm like open 3-pointers, or maybe he's just not taking them, so that's why I'm not seeing him as much. But I don't know. It's weird because when Ben Simmons, when he played with Ben Simmons, he got a lot more like wide open 3-pointers or in rhythm shots. So part of me is like, okay, is it because they're not getting as many transition 3-pointers off? Is it because Ben Simmons not pressuring the ball into the paint every time down the court as for the first play, so he's not getting that initial 3-point shot? So I don't know if that's all his fault or just kind of just how he fits poorly into this new offense.
I think it's a valid question. It's a question I would love somebody to ask Tobias Harris, be like, how do you feel your 3-point shots have come along this year? Do you think they're getting rhythm or not? Because I think that's valid. There's clear synergy between Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris when they put him in the court.
100%. It's the same thing with Danny Green. To me, it's the same thing with Danny Green. Danny Green has gotten much less 3-point shots off this year in comparison to last year. Like last year, you would see some games him shooting like it felt like 15 threes at times just because of how many times him and Ben would be running in transition. So yeah, I think it could be a reason.
Ready for this? The last 11 games heading into tonight, Tobias Harris, last 11 games, 8 times he's had 0 3-pointers made. 8 times. Wow. He's shooting, heading into tonight, he was shooting 26% from 3 the last 11 games. He was 1 of 5 times. I appreciate the 5 attempts. I do, Mr. Tobias Harris, but it is absolutely brutal.
It's even worse when you see Christian Wood doing step back threes and hitting them.
That's true. That is true. Where do we want to go from here? I'm going to throw it to you, Justin. Anything else you want to talk about before we get into play of the game?
I want to talk about Joel Embiid commanding the offense on the court a little bit. I know we talked about Joel already, but something you see a lot now is Joel, when he gets the ball in the post or at the top of right at the arc, you see him directing guys where to stand. And I saw it at least twice this game where he saw Furkan and he saw Niang, and he said to both of them, "Stay there. He just pointed to that spot and said, "Stay there." And as soon as he started backing his guy in, the double team came, tossed it out to them, and it was an easy 3-point shot for him. And it just like that to me is like a whole nother level of player to understand what's going to happen before it even happens. Now, mind you, of course, he's a big man. He's Joel Embiid. He's going to get doubled. But to me, the fact that you know it's going to happen, you know where it's going to come from, and you know who's going to be open before it even happens, that just shows film study. It shows growth. It shows IQ, everything. And I just love seeing that out of a guy who's supposed to be the best player and your MVP candidate for this team.
Yeah, on that point, like if I'm Daryl Morey and I'm looking at this and I'm looking at Embiid's development as a passer and a playmaker, I'm thinking to myself, how can I just flood this roster with cutters and catch and shoot players? Because it's a sea of open lanes that you get from Joel Embiid operating at the top of the key, that Joel Embiid is now proven capable to hit those, thread the needle on those through passes. And anytime there's a double, it's a wide open three. And guys like Korkmaz have not been able to cash in. Tobias Harris just haven't been able to cash in consistently enough. Now tonight, Korkmaz is really good. And you saw the impact that he has in that catch and shoot next to Joel Embiid. So if I'm more, man, I'm like, who are my catch and shoot guys, quick trigger cutters that I can play off that Joel Embiid? And I think you can have consistent 8 to 9 assist games from Embiid like Jokic has in Denver. I mean, that's the type of player we're talking about right now.
I have a question for both of you, and just on a player that I've been able to see play pretty much this whole year, that has just now joined the Sixers, and it's Charlie Brown Jr. Someone who I saw play with the Blue Coats, really was doing super well with the Blue Coats as kind of that 3-and-D wing type of player. Curious what your guys' thoughts are now that you've seen him play some minutes.
I think it's noticeable how starved this Sixers team, this roster is for athletic guards and wings that are active. I really like Charlie Brown's ability to just hustle. And, I'm tired of watching Sixers players just stand around and watch the damn ball. Charlie Brown's not that kind of guy. Charlie Brown is a guy that's going to fight. He's going to – the first game, I compared him to Corey Brewer. I was getting some Corey Brewer vibes. He just brings this energy about him that the Sixers just don't have. Like they're an incredibly slow team. They're in terms of pace, they're among the worst in the NBA. They're not active off ball. Charlie Brown, they're not athletic, as we said many, many times on these shows. Charlie Brown is a guy that can inject some of that for the Sixers team, and they need it. They need perimeter defense. They need deflections and steals and transition buckets, points off turnovers. That's something that was a big concern, 2 weeks ago when this Sixers offense was really spiraling downward. It hasn't lately. It's definitely been corrected a bit. But I like him, man. I'm good. What about you, Tiago?
Yeah, man, 4 rebounds, 2 steals. Like you see the athleticism right off defensively. He made a couple really good plays. He made a couple really good plays defensively. Playing passing lanes, you would definitely see the athleticism on defense. I have no idea what he's on offense. He tried to take a couple threes, and it felt like it took 20 minutes to get the shot off. He's got that shot put, and you're
so that's the thing. That's the thing about Charlie Brown in the G League, and I said the same thing. I remember I was talking to Sean Barnard because he came down to a game and we were talking about Charlie Brown, and I was telling him, I'm like, yeah, the one thing that I think is going to stop Charlie from really excelling in the NBA is that slow 3-pointer. But honestly, if he's your off ball guy and he's only getting open shots at times, you see George and Yang, you see guys like him all the time who have slower shots or are just able to sink open jumpers. PJ Tucker does it all the time, although his release is definitely faster. But it's a shot that goes in. It looks a little strange. It's not what you're used to. Usually you see guys in the NBA up here. He's right here. It's a slingshot, shot put, whatever you want to call it. But it works for him. He hits it pretty consistently, and you definitely have not seen what I got to see in the Chase Fieldhouse so far this season from Charlie. 3-point shots. He can dunk on some people sometimes. He'll catch some. So he's got more to show. But I think not even just the normal offensive stats that you'd see I think it's nice to see how active he is off ball, kind of like what you guys were alluding to. Not only is he a capable 3-point shooter, but when Joel Embiid has the ball in the post, I believe I tweeted this out earlier. He is so active running into the paint and getting to the other side of the court, sort of what Danny Green does as well. And it's pulling defenders with him, and it is getting guys off Joel or getting guys off other people. I saw him do it at one time in the game, got Furkan Korkmaz an open look. That kind of stuff is so important, and you did not see that from the power forward position last year. Mike Scott did not move.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking the same exact thing. There was a time when he had a three. I thought he played really well tonight, and that first 3-point shot he took, he kind of got like fouled or bumped by the defender a little bit.
100%.
And it like literally hit the end of the backboard. I was like, oof, like don't do that again.
No, I would say he also does not miss that bad. So like when he missed like that, I was like, yeah, he had to have gotten hit or something altered, because like Charlie, yeah, he'll miss his shots, but he has not hit the backboard. Like he hasn't. I have not seen him do that. So
what did you guys think of that Kevin Porter Jr. tackle?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's
you know what? You know what I saw in that play? I didn't see Kevin Porter's tackle. I saw Charlie Brown, how good of a reaction he had to it.
He kept his cool, man.
That's how you start riots on a basketball court.
Oh, 100%.
That's how you start a fight on a basketball court, because that's how you injure somebody. It's
100%.
I'm happy things didn't escalate, because that was ugly.
Yeah, but I was impressed because like I honestly, because Charlie's a super nice guy. Like I've talked to him a few times, and he's a really nice dude. Like actually, he's funny, super funny, but he has some shit to him at the same time. And so I was like, that's Charlie Brown is like he's a beefy dude. If you see him in person, he's not the small skinny shooters we're used to seeing on the Sixers at this point. So I'm like, that's not a guy you want to mess with, really. And it looked bad too. Like I'm not sure how it looked like in person, anybody who watched that, but like on TV, like he didn't just stand there, like he lowered his shoulder going into him.
Furkan Korkmaz had an interesting game tonight. He had 12 points, going back to his previous game against the Houston Rockets, where he had 24 points. Seems to be, the Houston Rockets kryptonite a little bit. Most of his damage came in that first half. He was really active defensively. I thought he was, deflecting passes. He was creating transition buckets. He was hitting shots. He looked really good with the ball in his hands. Like, Furkan Korkmaz is like just that enigma, man. Like, he's just so inconsistent. Like, he can look like Joe Ingles for like 2 weeks, and then 2 weeks he looks like he shouldn't even be in the NBA. But tonight, I thought he played really well, and I like his fit with Joel Embiid. I love that they're kind of like, I think that's improved a little bit lately, that they're like kind of like learning to play off each other a little bit more. What about you, Tiago? I'll throw it to you. Like, any real quick thoughts on Furkan Korkmaz tonight?
I'm just glad that he's over that slump, man, because that felt like it took 2 months to get out of that.
Oh my God, yeah.
He's shooting like less than 30% from three, I think, on the year, which is just, you don't expect that from Furkan Korkmaz. Hopeful that he's going to get it together here in the second half of the year. He's going to get opportunities. It's very obvious that Doc likes him a lot. He's obviously over Isaiah Joe, and rightfully so. I think Isaiah Joe kind of missed the chance to wrestle those minutes away from Korkmaz this year. He just hasn't been consistent enough when he's gotten playing time, and I think just Doc trusts Korkmaz more frequently. I think that he gives you some effort defensively. He gives you a little bit of size defensively. The Sixers rebounding as a guard group is atrocious. They're dead last in the NBA. And he's one of those guards that can actually come in and give you some rebounds. So he's going to play if he's going to defend and rebound and hit shots. So today was one of the – yeah, that is true. The haircut thing is a real thing, because it was getting out of control there. The haircut and the beard was just insane, man.
Yeah. I will say with Furkan, I genuinely feel like if he didn't add that, now mind you, he's played point guard and for other teams, but if he wasn't able to, have some sort of, handle and be able to run the offense at times, he would not be valuable on this team. Like Like, imagine if the Sixers had a legitimate backup point guard on this roster, Furkan, I have a strong feeling, would not be on this roster. Like, I just don't, or at least wouldn't be having as much value on this roster, because really the real reason he's getting this many points is because he has been the on-ball guy a lot of times with Shake Milton and Tyrese Maxey out of the lineup. You
But he's
know?
one of those guys that doesn't fear the shot from distance. I mean, you look at the Sixers roster, who, when this ball swings their way, shoots the ball.
Yeah.
It's him and Niang and Danny Green.
Yep.
The rest of them, it's a pump fake, it's a dribble, it's a drive, and just shoot the freaking ball, man. Like,
I don't disagree.
Shoot the ball. And he's one of those guys that definitely shoots it, even when he's struggling. So,
yep. It's commendable. It's commendable.
Let's go into player of the game, Justin. Who's your player of the game tonight?
I think I'm going to steal the obvious, so I'm going to go Joel Embiid, man. Like I said, I think we've all been praising him the whole show. Like, the guy is just ridiculous, and it's that's what it is. He's ridiculous. He's turning in to Kevin Durant in some ways in the mid range, and we saw that last year. Early in this season, it was a struggle. He wasn't making anything. Now it's back, and we're back to saying, yeah, good shot, Joel. Good shot, Joel. When before we were like, all right, Joe might have to stop taking these shots. So it's nice to see him going in, and I'm happy for the man.
You look at his splits for January. This does not include tonight's game, but 31 points a game, 10 plus boards, 7 assists per game. He's a plus 24, a true shooting percentage of nearly 59%. Just crazy numbers we're seeing from Joel Embiid. What about you, Tiago? Who's your player of the game?
he's the MVP of the league, man. But right now, people need to start talking about that. He's MVP. Right now, he's the MVP of the league. For me, he's Matisse Thybulle. The
Matisse
Rockets
Thybulle,
are,
MVP?
yeah. Whenever it gets to that point, the Sixers got maybe the best player in NBA history because of the defense. We all know what that is. Yeah, I mean, he's playing well. Big picture, I'm looking at the Sixers defense and how they can be better defensively going into the second half of the year. They were not a good defensive team the first half of the year for many reasons. They're getting healthy. They're tinkering with things. They're blitzing the pick and roll more. They're creating more turnovers. I don't know how many steals they had today, Chris. Just look at it real quick.
I think they had 14.
14 steals? Yeah,
that is. It was that. I can look while you're talking.
Yeah, you're right, 14. I mean, that is a ton of steals. And it's not just Matisse Thybulle. It's the whole team. And they're working together as a unit defensively. And that's a good sign because they can't be like the 21st, 22nd ranked defense going to the playoffs. If they're in that 15 range, they have a chance. Obviously, if they're in the 10 range, it changes the conversation. So the Sixers are getting better defensively. Matisse Thybulle was a big reason why, and it's something to look for here because they're going to be facing some very tough teams coming up. So,
yeah, crazy thing. Only 2 guys on the Sixers today didn't have a steal. Only 2 guys that got minutes didn't have a steal. And cool. One of those guys played for 2 minutes. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'll start off saying Andre Drummond. I think he's getting kind of a little bit better around the rim over the last handful of games. That's something that we saw Dwight Howard get worse and worse as the season progressed last year. So I like what I see from Andre Drummond. But the true MVP, the true player of the games, didn't even play tonight. That is, again, Tom and Mark Jackson. I'm sorry, Kate. This is becoming like a routine. When you go off for 5 freaking minutes about Buckeyes and nuts and trees, we're gonna have issues. You cannot do that. You just look at this was like a perfect example of why McGinnis and Jackson are just better. Like they keep you engaged in the game. They stay relevant to the game. Kate and Ala are literally just bouncing off walls and not discussing anything related to the game. We're talking about trees. Come on, man.
Try to manufacture chemistry.
We'll keep Tom at the radio. Just put Matt Murphy in there. That's all I
know. I'm good with that too.
Let's throw Matt Murphy a bone. Let's put him in there. Mark Jackson. I'm happy.
Just get Ala out.
I think it's Ala. I really truly think
I have to agree. I think Kate. I genuinely like Kate. I think is.
I like Kate's good. She's good.
Yeah, I genuinely think Ala, like she's trying to play to Ala, obviously. That's just what it is. She's trying to play to him. She's going off of him. That's what happens. That's what happens when you're a new
Ala just
announcer most
talks
of the
too
time.
much, man.
And
Just talks too much.
to me, it's not the talk too much. It's the talk about random shit too much.
Yes.
It's the like I swear sometimes I feel like he's a color announcer for like something else that's happening in the world. Like there's like he's either talking about a different team, a player that played for a different team, or he's talking about something else. I'm like, a color announcer is supposed to talk about half the time what Kate's talking about.
You know
Like-
what his job should be? You know those like war correspondents that are like in Iraq and they have to talk really fast before a bomb hits? Ala should be like that guy. He's just like, I'm here in Baghdad. La, 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 la. Bye.
Where did you pull that out of? Where did you pull that reference?
He just talks so fast for such like intense bursts. That's what I imagine. I'm like, you should be out in the war somewhere.
Oh man,
there was a part of tonight's game where there's clearly like 20 people at this game. Like no one was at the like that entire stadium was completely empty, and like I was like pouring salt on the wound and like making fun of the poor Houston Rockets fans,
dude,
who are actually there. Like it was deserted. Like
Yo,
come on, Al, like just pump the brakes, man.
Yo, he even like gave he gave Kate shit when she like said like nice what was it? Oh damn, the jacket. There was like a Rockets fan who had a Letterman's jacket on. She's like, "Oh, that's a nice Letterman's jacket." He's like, "No, it's not." See the color of that? He's like, "See the color of that jacket?" He's like, "That's a Houston," because it was a Houston Rockets like Letterman's jacket. And she's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. It's terrible." Obviously they were joking, but like I'm just like, "Damn, man. Let's just I want to be able to watch basketball and like not have to like just mute the TV. I actually literally there's been times where it's literally get just like the nonsense that's being talked that I mute the TV and then I turn on the radio. I just listen to Tom or I listen to Matt. I've listened to Murphy a good amount of times this year in the car rides, and dude, man is good.
He's really
man
good.
is good. Like I mean, I've heard him with the Blue Coat stuff, and I see him doing those broadcasts. But man, he's fun to listen to.
Yeah, we have Quentin saying, "I don't like Kate. Ala is pressing." I didn't think it was bad before. When you're sitting next to a legend, everyone just like Joel Embiid, everyone's game goes up a notch.
Yeah,
I think that's what we saw here for sure. Being around Zuma, I miss Zuma so much. Let's wrap it up. Tiago, what do you got going on, man? Where can we find you?
Man, we'll never be allowed to cover anything Sixers related after
that. Don't say that. Don't say that. I'm on this.
They're gonna be like, who are these idiots talking about?
Oh man. Listen. I think they're both amazing people. I just don't think they fit well right now. That's just how I feel.
Let's keep Kate. Let's give Kate a better chance. Yeah, I mean we're the Painted Lions. You find me at this caveat.
Right after talking the most shit. Yeah, you can find me. This is my company. You can find me here.
What about you, Justin?
God. Oh man, yeah, you can find me at the Twitter handles right here at @J_Persichetti, man. I've been getting some cool Blue Coat stuff. Been getting some good sourced material lately. It's been kind of cool. I learned that Haywood Highsmith is back with the Sixers now after playing with the Miami Heat for a bit. Shamori Pons is going off in the G League right now. Don't be surprised if you see a call up from him soon. So yeah, but it's been fun. Blue Coats basketball is back soon. They'll be home soon. Oh, also, I got stuff in the works for Blue Coats coverage. I know you guys haven't seen a lot of YouTube stuff for Blue Coats coverage, but I do have something in the works. As soon as home games start up again for the Blue Coats, I'm going to start trying to put some video stuff together. I'm talking to Dibes about it a little bit. Where we've been trying to figure it out, but got something in the works. Working on how I want to edit it together a bit, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. But look out for that.
This is an insane week, man. Just an absolutely insane week. Tomorrow I've got Kai Carlin at 5 p.m. We're going to be talking a lot about everything Sixers related, Joel Embiid's MVP performances last month, everything. Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, you name it. That's at 5 o'clock. I've got Locked on Bucks. It's a Buccaneers podcast for an Eagles Bucks preview at 9 p.m. Tomorrow night. We're doing, me and Rob got a guy from a Buccaneers podcast. We're going to just kind of count down our top 3 matchups to watch. That's Tuesday night. Wednesday night, Book of Boba Fett review at 8 p.m. Then I've got another Buccaneers podcast at 9 p.m.
Busy boy.
What's that?
It's a busy boy.
Yeah, that's called Cannon Fire, the Cannon Fire podcast. The fun fact about that is the guy lives outside of Philly. He's a Sixers fan. That was
Sixers
really
fan
funny.
and Bucks fan. Interesting.
They had no idea. Had no idea. We were talking on Twitter all day. So
That's
that was
great.
really funny. It's just small world. Thursday night, Peacemaker review. That'll be going down. And then Friday, I think I'm taking the day off. We're going to go to Philly, actually. We're going to be hanging out in South Philly for the weekend.
Nice.
And then Saturday night, we have our Oscars. Our next movie draft is the Best Picture winners and nominations draft. I'm not in it. I don't care. I don't give a goddamn thing about the Oscars. But I just got to plug my guys. Of
course.
So, again, it's going to be obviously tons of Eagles content, draft content. I've already got my top 10 edge rushers in this class ready to go. Expect that video to be dropped. And then my top 10 cornerbacks, and then I'll have my top 10 wide receivers. And then we'll see how we go from there. But again, I already did my first reaction mock draft.
I watched it. It was good.
That was great, man. That was good.
It was good. I watched it.
Yeah? Thanks, man.
Yeah, they get that group of players, man. I'm all board.
Oh, I love it.
Dude,
Yeah,
is all defense going to happen? I think there's a chance. No, you don't think there's a chance?
I'm
He's
a
gonna
big,
get offensive lineman in there.
yeah.
In the first round?
I'm a big fan of, like, take 2 guys and then trade back for future assets a little bit. But as always, first round, I'm always BPA. I'm always depending upon where and how the draft board falls and where the value is. That's I don't even think about position. First round, I just need a difference maker. That's where
Makes
I'm at.
sense. Makes sense.
The interesting thing that I think we're going to fall into, and I hope Terrence Williams, I think his name is, did he get tear his ACL, I think, tonight? Like, someone got hurt. Or maybe that was Messi. I'm not sure. But anyway, there's going to be some wide receivers there in that mid to early 20s range of this first round that I think are really strong. So just going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be dropping probably about 10 to 15 mock drafts. So be on the lookout for that. I just love it to death. That's my bread and butter, man.
Yeah.
Then that leads right into me and Tiago going into the NBA draft. It's a whirlwind. For
Sure.
sure.
Yeah, all-star podcast too. I was trying to think about my all-star team.
All-star? That'll be really fun.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Be sure to like this video. Smash that subscribe button if you love the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't know about you guys, but I'm definitely in for Friday night Celtics postgame show. That is 100% locked. I will not miss that.
Yo, I might try to see if my boy, I don't know if he's doing anything, but remember Connor? Remember Connor? Maybe I'll see if he can go on. I know he's been watching. He always watches the Celtics religiously, so I'll see if he can come on and talk some Sixers Celtics with us. He also, as like Tiago, is not a big fan of Jason Tatum at all, and he loves the Celtics but hates Jason Tatum.
that market is growing by the day.
Yep.
All right, guys. Thank you, everyone, for watching. For Justin, for Tiago, for Daniel Tice.
Take the shot.
For myself. Stay awesome, everybody.